Hi, today we're listening to Stuart Hall. He's the co-founder of Filter Squad, who make the Discover applications. He's also had an experiment in recent times building the 7-minute workout iOS app with great success. We're really excited to hear his story. He's also a dad. He also built the AppBot application as well, so he's fiddling around with a whole lot of things. He's got a great amount of experience, and we really look forward to hearing what he has to say. Hope you enjoy.
Hi, first of all I just want to say, this is amazing. I think last time I went to a MorningStartup there was 4 of us in Mover. It was a little while ago, but it's amazing how the personal scene has evolved thanks to things like SpaceCube and Startup Weekend and MorningStartup, and yeah, hopefully it keeps growing. It's amazing. So I'm Stuart Hall. So I want to clear up a few things. I've got a quite common name, and on Twitter I get some pretty random things, so I want to make sure you don't mistake me for any of these guys. But here's a tweet I got the other day. Dear Mr. Hall, would you like to be able to arrange it? It's an knockout competition and I would make it pass the time. If you're not quite sure who that is, there's a UK presenter, quite famous. He's a pedophile, so I've been mistaken for an 8-year-old pedophile. I want to clear up that I'm not this guy. I'm also not this guy. I get quite a few tweets about him as well. He's quite famous. And I'm also not the all-girls boarding school in the US.
Well, you'd like to be.
And yeah, so just wanted to clear that up. Who I am, I'm a founder of Filter Squad. We make the Discover apps. So we've done about 3 million downloads. We've done a round of VC, just over $1 million. We just spent the last 18 months building a brand new music app. We think it's pretty amazing, and we hope everyone else is too, and we're hoping to launch in the next few weeks, so keep your eye out for that. So I wanted to share some of my thoughts on being an entrepreneur and also an experiment I ran. But people who know me probably think this pilot's a bit dry. It's not normally what I'd go for. I like to have a bit more fun with it. Something that's going to be, a bit more trolly, something that's going to run on Hacker News. So I came up with this. Being entrepreneur sucks dog balls, and it does, and it can, but don't fear. So how many entrepreneurs does it take to change a light bulb? 100. One to change the light bulb, and 99 to talk about how they could have done it better. And it is really true. So amongst the community, there's some doers and there's a lot of talkers, and it's the doers that really see the success. So these are the sort of things you hear every day as an entrepreneur, and until you learn how to deal with these things, they can actually really get you down. So you get things like, oh, that's too hard, how are we going to do that? I don't get it. That's never going to work. It would be much better if we did it this way, or I could have done that. But don't fear, I've got a 2-step plan to make it suck less. The first step is, don't fear making mistakes. So the people who make the most mistakes are the people who find the right answer faster. So you're not trying not to make mistakes, you're actually trying to make the mistakes faster. That's one key. So John Cleese's got a great video online. It's quite old, but it's on YouTube if you want to go dig it out. So nothing will stop you being creative effectively. It's the fear of making a mistake. It is so true. Unless you don't care what other people think, you're willing to get out there and just try it, put things out, do whatever you want. That's how you're going to find your success. Step 2, ignore the haters and competitors. We all spend a lot of time worrying about, what other people say, what your competitors are doing. They're going to wipe you off the face of the planet, and it's taken me a long time to realise that it all just doesn't matter. You're just going to make the best product you can. So what makes a product great? You talk to a developer, it's all about the coding. You talk to a designer, it's all about the design. You talk to a marketer, it's all about the marketing. And then, after a while you start thinking, well, maybe it's equal parts of all these. And yeah, it is, but it's all about your story and how you're presenting that to the world and how those components make up your story. So, the great design is only great design if it actually sells what you're trying to sell. If you make some nice cartoon characters and you're trying to sell to a business, then it's not going to work. If you're trying to make a fun startup and you've got a serious, clean flipboard type design, that's not going to work either. So it's all about the right development, the right design to present yourself to the world. So this is probably going to be a bit controversial. So in my opinion, you can't validate your story in product market fit with a random survey. So I love lean startup, minimal viable product, but I think the best products come out of those things that you wake up every day and you go, I really want to do this. 2 weeks later you go, I really, really want to do this. And people don't understand that. You can go around and do a survey and they'll tell you, no, that's not a good idea. But you've got to make them believe it's a good idea. And those really good ideas are the ones that people really believe and they stick at, and the winners are the ones that keep standing for the longest. Saying that, if you haven't been along to something like Startup Weekend, it's absolutely amazing. You definitely should. You'll learn a whole lot about that. And you'll do some validation, you'll do some product development, and then you'll see the winners at the end are the ones with the best stories that can sell it to the judges. Doesn't matter the validation you do, doesn't matter the product you give. It's the best thing. Who can convince the judges at the end that they've got the best story. So if you haven't read this book already, you definitely should go buy it. It's $4 on Kindle, and it's written by actually someone here in Perth, Bernadette. It's all about creating a story, how some great examples of other companies' stories and how they've solved that. So this brings me to something I wanted to do for quite a while. So like I mentioned before, we've spent 18 months building a product, getting it perfect, building out the features. So I wondered, what would happen if you did completely the opposite thing? Or if you sat down one night and said, I'm going to submit an app tonight. You had no idea what you're going to build. So that's what I did. I sat down about 7 o'clock one night. My aim was to submit an app to the App Store by midnight. I didn't want to tell a soul about it. I didn't want to do any marketing, and I wanted to just see what would happen. So I thought to myself, what's something I know absolutely nothing about? And this is probably going to be the most surprising thing of today is I'm not that into exercise, but so at the time, the 7-minute workout had just come out. It was doing really well on Hacker News. The New York Times had covered it. People were getting excited about it. And the reason people get excited about it is the story the name says, 7-minute workout. I can work out in 7 minutes. That's awesome. Doesn't matter what the features are. Doesn't matter. All this doesn't matter. That title tells everything that people need to know to get excited. So I took another hour. It took about 1 a.m. I submitted it to the App Store. Had 3 screens. So one screen listing the 12 different exercises you do. You can tap through and see a YouTube video and a bit of detail about it. And then you can start a workout, which is just a timer that counts down and says, start this exercise, rest for 30 seconds. That's all it did. So about 6 days later, version 1 was approved. So no one apart from me in the world knew about this. Hadn't even told my wife I did this. And so I just let it go. And it did not too bad. I was making about $25 a day, ranking around 200 in the App Store. So this was just driven by people searching for 7-minute workout in the App Store, people stumbling across it. So this is a dirty word to me, marketing.
What was the cost, sorry? Is it $2?
99 cents. 99 cents. So marketing. This is one of the keys why I wanted to do this experiment. Just before I did the experiment, I was watching, there was One More Thing conference over in the Eastern States, which I went to the year before but didn't make it this year. And they had a presenter from Macworld there. And this is what he told everyone that he wanted from them as a press release. Basically, I'm telling you about my great app. It costs this much for iPhone and iPad. This is what it lets you do, and here's a few screenshots. And this is rubbish. This is not what they want at all, and I wanted to prove it. So I did exactly this. I sent it around to 10 of the biggest review sites, including this guy here. The only thing I did was I attached a few promo codes so I could actually check if they used them. And so this is the press I got out of it. Absolutely nothing. So I sent 44 promo codes around. 4 were claimed because one of the sites gave them away on Twitter. So none of the guys, including this guy, even bothered installing it. Which I think goes to show as well, you don't, these guys, think they want their few features and your screenshots listed off. They don't want that at all. They want to hear your story. What are you doing for the world? How are you going to delight people? How are you going to change them? How are you going to make them want to use your product? So he actually read the article and came back to me. And he basically said exactly the same thing in a roundabout way. So you want coverage, you can sell a review out of the gate. Reviews are great, but spreading awareness is even more so. And the way you spread that awareness is by getting people excited. How are you going to make their lives easier? How are you going to delight them? It's not a list of features, it's not screenshots. So I defended the press for you. I don't recommend you do this because you actually do want these guys to review your apps. So obviously getting no press, it ticked along pretty much the same. Doing around the sort of $20 to $25 a day mark. So this is where it got interesting. This is not very interesting. So the next version was I wanted to spread the market, go to more people. Would this make much of a difference? And I knew it wouldn't. Pretty much nothing. If anything, it did worse. So it started falling off the new categories in the app stores. This is where it starts getting interesting. So going free, if you've ever done anything in the App Store, pricing is almost the most important thing out of everything. Price elasticity is a huge part of it, and your positioning around your price. If you say you're a 99-cent app, you're saying I'm cheap. I'm doing, you go high price, you say I'm the quality app in this market. You often do better. But going free is a whole different thing. So 99 cents to free doesn't sound like much of a difference. So this is what happened. And yeah, the other chart is still here, but you can't see it. So I think it was about 212,000 downloads in 3 days. It did. Here they are again. So I just set it free one night before I went to bed. I woke up the next morning, had 65,000 downloads. So I think there was about 2,500 times increase on 99 cents.
Any ads on it now or not?
I'll come to that in a second. So it was the #1 fitness iPad app in 68 countries, #1 fitness iPhone app in 49 countries. It was top 10 overall in 12 countries. So on the front page, you can see here in the Netherlands, it was #5 overall. So on the front page, here in the US, where most of the downloads came, it was top 25 overall. So this is where I actually started telling people I'd made this app. Up to here, I hadn't told, so I told a couple of people, just a couple of workmates and things like that. My wife knew by this point. But so that was the main crux of the experiment that I wanted to try out. The selling your story, price elasticity, and doing these press releases. So this was the next part of the experiment. People thought I was talking about it. It was actually the next step in the experiment. A lot of people think getting to the front page of Hacker News or getting on TechCrunch, that's the key to the success of your startup. It's complete rubbish. So the blog post did pretty well. Got to #2 on Hacker News front page, 80,000 views, lots of tweets, so lots of new followers out of it. So you can probably see on that chart, that it peaked and it started coming off. Obviously getting on Hacker News, was going to send it sky high again, right? No, it doesn't even blip on the radar compared to the App Store. So this is the free fall down of the downloads. There's a bump here that I can't even explain. Lots of downloads in the UK. About here somewhere it was covered by the ABC News in the US. Again, just doesn't even compare to the power of the App Store. So, what do you do it free? How do you make money out of it? Obviously, there's two ways, like what someone suggested. There's adverts, or there's in-app purchases. Both of them are totally evil to me. But I decided this was the less of the two evils. So I added in-app purchases. So this is how it stacks up against paid downloads and in-app purchases, which is pretty typically what you see. So I was making about $25 a day here. In-app purchases makes about $75 to $100 a day. So you see somewhere to 3 or 4 times the increase going free with an in-app purchase compared to just paid straight outright, which is pretty much what I expected and what I've seen before. So this is where we are today, 500,000 downloads, 1.2 million updates, about 4 grand in revenue, 3 grand in profit. And I've spent about 12 hours on it all up, which isn't too bad, and it's still, I think it made $85 last night. So the next part of the experiment is, I don't care, I'm just going to let it go and see what happens. And in a few months I'll blog about, does it make any difference? You know, if you just leave it, let it go. And from my experience, once it settles at a price, it'll just keep going. So what did I learn? I learned a lot in that I validated a lot of my theories. I got some numbers of in-app purchases, which I expected. So simple can still do well if that's your story. So obviously the 7-minute workout, people want to go, I've got 7 minutes, I want something really simple, get it done, get on with it. So if that's part of what you're selling to people, then it's a really simple app, can still work. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. Sure, I'm a developer, there's a lot of other ways to test theories out there rather than actually building an app, but lots of people like to use the excuse that I'm not a developer is the reason why they can't do things. And if you want to use that excuse, go for it, otherwise there's hundreds of ways to test out theories. You don't have to be first to the App Store and ignore your competitors. So I was about the 5th 7-minute workout app into the App Store. I've done about 5 times the number of downloads as the next one in the App Store. This is how many competitors there are now. Luckily I'm still at the top there, and you probably can't really see, but I haven't downloaded any one of these other apps. I don't really care what they're doing, because if I look at their apps, I'm going to be competing on features, and there's a lot of other apps there that have a lot more features than I do, but it doesn't matter. People aren't downloading a 7-minute workout for their apps, for their features. They're downloading for simplicity, they're downloading it because it has the name 7-minute workout, it looks official, it looks like the app used. But you do want to listen to your users, so I've got lots and lots of really nice 5-star reviews, how awesome the app is. These are really nice and they make you feel good, but they don't really help you at all. What really does help is if you flick it around to the most critical reviews, you read the worst ones. You see the same things over and over again. They're the things you want to fix in your app. If you're hearing things multiple times, people are hitting issues, that's what you want to fix. One of my previous experiments actually helps you with this, so I made this again in a night. That it sends you app reviews from all different countries, which is actually a real pain. And I did a pretty similar thing to this. I made it in a night, turned it into a product, I put it out. There's about 10,000 apps being tracked on there, including Twitter and Evernote and all the major gaming companies using it. So I think again, it shows you if you make something that solves a problem for yourself, you put it out there, you make sure it works, people will use it. Market with your story, not your features or screenshots. I harped on about this one a bit, but again, get Bernadette's book and read through that, and I think you'll learn a lot. Take risks. So, obviously people don't expect me to make a fitness app, but it doesn't matter. You just need to try something, get something out there. Don't care what other people think about it. So, screw in the light bulb. Don't watch other people screw in the light bulb. And then being an entrepreneur is awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Who's got questions for Stuart? I'm sure many of you do.
It's not questions, it's comments, Stuart. I really applaud you for discovering the key to future success, which is about encouraging people to criticise once you've already got it up. Because, as you say, that's what's going to continue the or make it an ongoing success.
Yeah.
So many people miss that, and particularly it seems in the service industries in Perth, where, you know, when very often you make a complaint, it comes back with an explanation as opposed to a solution, you know, as to why the food was cold or whatever it was. So I just want to applaud you on that. Do you have any other things that you do about that? Can you give them feedback direct, or
Give
know,
food, sorry, give.
the people who are giving those comments
Yep.
about what is missing or what they don't like about it, is it at all possible to get back to them and say, you know, I fixed it, or thank you for that?
Yeah, through AppCloud, the service that I made, it is quite difficult to contact people in the iTunes store, but I have built something in there where you can, based on the username, try and track down if they're the same people on LinkedIn or Twitter and things like that. And I think the key to that, well, in my experience, is you don't want to ask people for feedback because you're going to get the wrong feedback. Because if I ask you for feedback on my app, you're going to look at it and you go, well, I have to tell him at least 3 things. So I'm going to say this, this, and this. You want to look at the feedback you're getting of people that actually bother to go out and go, I'm going to give this feedback even though it hasn't been asked for it. So that's the real critical feedback. And you want feedback from your customers. You don't want feedback from, you know, the general public or another entrepreneur that's not that interested in your app. But yeah, I think actually iterating on that feedback is pretty much the most important thing you can do.
So you just mentioned don't go out looking for feedback. I've been on the App Store for 2 years and I have no reviews, 0. My customers just do not write reviews, don't give me any, like, I get some feedback on the phone and support issues and things like that.
Yep.
Is there any way to successfully encourage feedback that's not going to test them and not personal?
Yeah, so
Trigger that.
there definitely is. Yeah, so I ask reviews in my app after they've completed their 3rd workout, which is, you know, something I've learned over time, that you want people to review your, you know, you want the feedback, that you want people to review your app that have used it quite a bit and you're ongoing using it, because you want 5-star reviews. So is your app paid or free?
That's a long story.
Paid. So have you ever tried going free?
I am going free in the next 2 months.
Yeah, so I mean that's the key. You know, a lot of people stop at that first step when they submit to the App Store and then they go, no one's bought my app. And there are not many people buying my app either. And the key to it is you can't just submit to the App Store and then go, oh, I'm good now, I'm going to be a millionaire. You've got to try things. You've got to go free. You've got to change the price. You've got to change your features. You've got to play with your name in the App Store. You've got to play with your description. And all that stuff is much more important than the actual app in the first place. And I think then you'll get a lot more feedback from people when you go free, and you know, hopefully you get a really big spike.
Just wondering about the way that you came up with the idea of going for that particular trend. Was it something that you just randomly heard of the 7-minute workout, or did you specifically be quite deliberate about how you track the trends?
No, it was just random. It was on Hacker News the day I was thinking about doing the experiment. There was other people making web apps at the time, and they were, you know, I was actually trying to do the workout, and it was really frustrating. You know, your screen would like lock, or it just wasn't usable. So it was a problem that I thought needed solving at the time, and obviously about 50 other people thought so as well.
Oh, I mean, you seem to have the most success with the in-app purchases. I was just wondering what your sort of experience was with, like, you know, say, the more premium pricing with some of your other apps.
Yeah, so
you got the 99 cent, but the more premium versus the in-app purchase.
Yeah, so the App Store's changing all the time, but generally, I found in my other apps, you make about the same amount of money at all different price points. You just get different number of downloads. So it's what you're looking. What's your aim of it? Are you trying to get it to lots of people at a cheap price point? Do you want to keep it more scarce at a higher price point, or what do you want to do with it? So I think probably the key to that is just try them. It's, change your price. The actual price movements can be a really good driver of downloads as well. There's lots of services out there that let people know when apps are dropping prices, or you can go free and things like that. So they can really drive a lot of downloads.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
What was the in-app purchase?
So you probably saw there was it's kind of 2 stages in the experiment of the in-app purchase. The first stage basically just lets you adjust the length of the workout and the rest times, and lets you do multiple sets and randomises the exercises. And that was a bit hidden away in the settings. And the second part was just gave you the calendar of a log of all your workouts on the front page. So I didn't mention it there, but yeah, apart from when actually the first in-app purchase, if you ignore the first few days when there's obviously lots of people using it, being on the front screen of the app made about 20 or 30% difference.
I know you think ads are evil, but how do you think it would have gone if you're advertising exercise equipment and so forth for a target market like that? Any ideas?
I imagine it probably would have gone quite well, but I imagine it would get a lot worse reviews because with an ad on a mobile app, you've only got a certain amount of real estate, and then you've got to say, all right, I'm going to sacrifice 20% of my screen to show this ad. So I think it's then you look at places, people like Facebook and Twitter, and they're trying to integrate it as actually part of the app, and that's quite evil in itself. So I think we're in this sort of app. I think we're moving away from that. In something like a news site that you're kind of consuming, it can still be part of that as if you're reading a newspaper. So,
what are your thoughts about now it's free of having a later add-on which you offer for 99 cents? So
well, that's what the in-app purchase is. So, whereas showed you the revenues went from $25 to $75 to $100, yes. That in-app purchase is like a module that you unlock for $1.99.
Okay, so you've got so it's now free or it's 99? Sorry.
It's free now with a module you can unlock for $1.99.
Stuart, similar question. If you were going to do the experiment again, this time go, okay, I'm going to sales revenue maximize, you still do the story bit, because that's important, but what would you change to try and make as much money as you could from a similar experiment?
Probably do exactly the same, except have the in-app purchase when you go free. That would be about the only difference, because if I launched it at free, it wouldn't have got anywhere near the number of downloads I've had, because you don't have that change in price where people, if you know much about pricing, especially in the App Store, something that goes from paid to free, people go, I'm getting a bargain here. If it's always free, then it's not so much of a bargain. But I think the in-app purchase, when it went free, you were looking at maximising the money you made.
Follow-up?
Yep.
Don't want this to come out the wrong way, but 500,000 downloads and 4,000 revenue is less than a cent per download. So would you go on in-app purchase earlier, or really get the money? Because that's a lot of downloads, and you'd hope to get 50 cents per download or something.
Typically in the App Store, so there's something like 20,000 daily active users now. So, which is, if you read about it, it's pretty typical sort of numbers for a mobile app. The number of users you retain. So, it's converting at about 1 or 2% at the moment, which is pretty typical for in-app purchase. And the in-app purchase isn't that compelling at the moment. And if you look at the top grossing apps in the App Store, they're generally all free with in-app purchases, and a lot of them are games, but it's not a one-off in-app purchase. You're buying gems and all these sort of things like multiple times. So, I think they say when they get an active user, they're generally making like $10 off the user. So there's definitely a lot more you could do with that, and it would have made a lot more money if the in-app purchase was there on the free day for sure. So, but excluding that, it's getting about 2,000 to 2,500 downloads a day at the moment. So it's converting at about 1 to 2%.
Right, so start with a pay, go free, a lot of buzz, but have an in-app purchase when you go free.
Yep. That's what I'd do if I did it again.
So you've actually nailed the science in terms of market penetration, and you've created a brand now from the 7-minute app.
Yep.
Would you consider that the next logical step, using your market penetration and your brand going forward, and your brand is far more important than your market, to create the new app by the leading developer of the 7 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do that. With Discover, we've gone to a lot of different verticals, and we've got to come back again, and now we're focusing again on music. So, I mean, this is just an experiment. It's not something that I'm really going to go on with going forward. And there's millions of different ideas out there. And it's possible I could, expand the range of that, but I'm not going to because I'm not interested enough in the actual market.
4-minute workout's popular these days.
Yeah, I've had a few reviews going on.
Who wants to buy the brand from Stuart now? He's not interested in taking that.
I've had a few reviews going, let me know when the 6-minute workout comes out. I don't have enough time to get the bus or something.
How are you finding the workout? Are you
Yeah,
still doing it?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a really good way to start the day. Really, it's obvious.
I don't like answers.
It's not I think it's part of a lifestyle. I don't think you can work out 7 minutes a day and expect that's all you have to do. And go and eat burgers for lunch, but that's an experiment I might try.
Final question for Stuart. No? In the back.
Who's the next step from here?
Well, we're working on Discover, so we're looking to release that in the next few weeks. So, we've got a team of 6, so we've been working 18 months for that. So, all my attention's going to go to that now.
Thanks very much, Stuart.
Thank you.